Good evening. This is Wednesday, June 29th, 2022. This is a special meeting of the Lebanon Redevelopment Commission. I'd like to officially call this meeting to order this evening. As customary, we start all of our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you join me, Mr. Robinson, if you'd lead that for me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We will do a roll call. Mr. Coots, our chairman, is unavailable this evening, as is Dr. Taylor. We do have present Dick Robertson, Keith Campbell, and myself, John Milliman, so we do have a quorum this evening. We have two items this evening on our agenda. New business this evening. The first is to consider a resolution 2020-02-07, which is a resolution of the RDC confirming amending Declaratory Resolution 2022-03, which was adopted on May 31st, 2022, for the Lebanon Consolidated Economic Development Area. We've asked Mr. Bontrager to give us kind of an overview of this resolution, and we'll ask Mr. Shine also to weigh in on this and read it into the record for the commission.
Thank you, Dr. Millman. Thank you all for being here this evening on a Wednesday evening, and apologize there is some numbers transcribed on that resolution number. That is meant to be a 2022, not a 2202. So
I did read it correctly.
Yeah, you started correctly. It is supposed to be 2022-07, not 22-02. So
Thank you.
this resolution, this is the second step in a two-step process to establish an allocation area. The Fieldhouse allocation area that we're setting up in order to facilitate the bonds associated with the Fieldhouse project, the Hickory Junction Fieldhouse project that we've been talking about and held a number of meetings over the last month. So again, as I mentioned, this is the second step of a two-step process. You have the amending declaratory resolution that you adopted a few weeks ago on May 31st that set up those allocation areas. We needed to send out a notice of a public hearing for this evening and hold a public hearing. And then we have an opportunity then to adopt the confirmatory resolution that again would just be the second step in setting up that allocation area. We had to add a few parcels to the allocation area, take a few out, and to get that set up. So that is what this first item is on your agenda tonight, is the confirmatory resolution setting up the allocation area for the Fieldhouse project. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Any of the commission members have any questions?
No.
I'll just ask Mr. Shine here to read it into the record for us.
Yeah, thank you, Commission. So Resolution 2022-07, again, is a confirmatory resolution of the Declaratory Resolution 2022-03 that was adopted on May 31st, 2022 for the Lebanon Consolidated Economic Development Area. This commission is the governing body of the Lebanon Department of Redevelopment for the city in the Lebanon Redevelopment District. This commission previously adopted amending resolutions that are defined as the Declaratory Resolution, establishing and expanding an economic development area known as Lebanon Consolidated Economic Development Area, designating certain portions of the area as allocation areas for the purposes of the Indiana Code, defined as allocation areas, which include, among others, the allocation areas designated as the 2017 expansion area and the Fieldhouse allocation area, and approving an economic development plan for the areas containing specific recommendations for economic development in the area pursuant to Indiana Code. On May 31st, 2022, this commission adopted Resolution 2022-03, amending the Declaratory Resolution, which, among other things, expanded the boundaries of the area by the addition of the parcels that were described in Exhibit A attached to that amending declaratory resolution. It designated the entire 2022 expansion area as part of the Fieldhouse allocation area and removed certain parcels from the 2017 expansion area and included such parcels in the Fieldhouse allocation area that was described in Exhibit B that's attached to the amending declaratory resolution. All that's defined again as the field house expansion area. It also adopted a supplement plan to add additional projects described in Exhibit C attached to the amending declaratory resolution. On June 6, 2022, the Lebanon Plan Commission approved and adopted an order, the Plan Commission order, approving the amending declaratory resolution and the 2022 amendments, in determining that the amending declaratory resolution and the 2022 amendments conform to the plan of development for the city. On June 13, 2022, pursuant to Indiana Code, the City Council for the City of Lebanon approved the Plan Commission order, the 2022 amendments, and designation of the 2022 expansion area as an economic development area. Whereas this commission now desires to take final action determining the public utility and benefit of the proposed amending declaratory resolution and 2020 plan supplement for the area and confirming amending declaratory resolution in accordance with the Indiana Code. On June 18, 2022, the commission caused to be published in the Lebanon Reporter, again, notice an adoption of the amending declaratory resolution pursuant to Indiana Code, which also gave notice, as Mr. Bontrager said, of public hearing that will be held here momentarily. Copies of the notice were also filed with the officer authorized to fix budgets, tax rates, and tax levies pursuant to Indiana Code. Now therefore, this commission, upon consideration of the evidence and the findings presented at the public hearing, confirms the findings and determinations, the designations, and approving the adopting actions contained in the amending declaratory resolution. This commission hereby finds and determines that it will be a public utility and benefit and will benefit the public health and welfare of the citizens of the city to amend the declaratory resolution and the plan as set forth in the amending declaratory resolution. The amending declaratory resolution adopted by the commission on May 31st, 2022 is hereby confirmed. The resolution constitutes final action under Indiana Code by the commission determining the public utility and benefit of the proposed projects contemplated in the 2022 plan supplement and confirming amendatory declaratory resolution and approving the 2022 amendments described therein. The amending declaratory resolution shall be attached to and incorporated to this resolution as Exhibit A. The Secretary of the Commission is directed to maintain a copy of this resolution with the Commission, record this resolution with the Boone County Recorder, and file a copy with the Boone County Auditor and the Indiana Department of Local Government Finance. And this resolution shall be effected upon its adoption and passage.
Thank you, Mr. Shine. At this time, I would entertain a motion to, I'm sorry, we have to open the public hearing. That is my fault. Thank you for the reminder. At this time, I would open the public hearing for public comment on Resolution 2022-07. Seeing only Mr. Bontrager in the audience and no one moving to the podium, I will close the public hearing at this time. Now, I would entertain a motion to accept this resolution.
I'll make a motion, we approve resolution number 2022-07.
And I will second it.
Motion and second by Mr. Campbell. All in favor? Is there any more discussion or questions that you may have?
I have done.
I have no questions.
You have a question? No
No.
questions. And I will ask for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Passes 3-0. Thank you, Commission. The next item is to consider Resolution 2022-08, which is a resolution of the Lebanon Redevelopment Commission amending and restating Resolution 2022-06. This is pledging certain tax increment revenues and covenanting to levy a special benefits tax. So this is discussing the payment and lease payments and the revenue sources to do so. So Mr. Bontrager, if you'd like to again give an overview of that.
Thank you, Dr. Millman. Just a real quick overview of this here. In conversations with our bond underwriter, he had a couple of recommendations for us in terms of the repayment sources for the bonds that are going to be issued. Essentially, we had before specifically designated a TIF pledge, or pledged a specific TIF revenue, and he recommended we change it up and actually not specifically pledge a particular TIF revenue, and then just essentially looking at using any available revenue sources from the Redevelopment Commission to make those payments. So when you pledge a specific source, it starts that 25-year clock on the TIF. So by making these changes, it makes sure that we're not starting that 25-year clock, and we have additional flexibility on future projects to be able to use these TIF revenues. So that's essentially what this does, is it just restates those repayment sources and removes the specific TIF pledge of specific TIF revenues as directed by our underwriter. That's all I got on that one, so happy to answer any questions.
Commission, any questions?
I do not have a question.
Seeing none, we will read this resolution in as well.
Yeah, thank you, Commission. I know you've heard a lot of this before, so I'll try to hit most of the highlights if I can. Resolution 2022-08 is an amending and restating resolution of 2022-06 adopted by the Lebanon Redevelopment Commission on June 13th. This is the Field House Project and Public Infrastructure Project. Pursuant to Indiana Code, this commission, the governing body of the Lebanon Department of Redevelopment and the Lebanon Redevelopment District, previously again adopted and amended resolutions establishing and expanding an economic development area, again known as Lebanon Consolidated Economic Development Area, as well as adopting an economic development plan and setting up certain allocation areas, which among others included the Field House allocation area. Whereas to foster economic development, the city, the commission, the Lebanon Public Building Corporation, and Carter Associates Athletic Facilities LLC, the developer, desire to provide for the acquisition, construction, installation, and equipping, again, of approximate 190,000 square foot indoor sports complex that's going to feature 8 basketball, volleyball courts, 2 fields to support football, soccer, rugby, lacrosse, baseball, and other activities. That's defined as the Field House Project. Again, together with public infrastructure improvements that are all set forth in this resolution, and that's defined as the Public Infrastructure Project, to be constructed by the developer at or near the southeast corner of I-65 and State Road 39 in the city. In order to induce the developer to complete the Field House Project and the Public Infrastructure Project, again, the developers proposed the city issue taxable economic development lease rental bonds. These are the Series 2022A Field House Project in one or more series in a principal amount not to exceed $35 million. Again, those are the Series A bonds. And lend those proceeds to the Building Corporation for the purpose of paying all or portion of the cost of the Field House Project, as well as economic development lease rental bonds, Series 2022B, in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $16 million. Those are the Series B bonds for the Public Infrastructure Project, and to lend those proceeds to the Building Corporation, again, for the purpose of paying all or a portion of the cost associated with the Public Infrastructure Project. The Series A bonds will be payable from the note payments made by the Building Corporation under a loan agreement between the city and the Building Corporation, and lease payments made by the commission under a certain lease agreement, and that's defined as the Series A lease. The Series B bonds will be payable from a note payment made by the Building Corporation under a loan agreement between the city and the Building Corporation, and the lease payments made by the commission under certain lease agreements with the Building Corporation. That's the Series B lease. The commission will pay the lease rentals due under the Series A lease from certain local income tax revenues distributed to the city under Indiana Code. That's the LIT pledge. The commission will pay the lease rentals due under the Series B lease from a special benefits tax levied on all taxable property in the district pursuant to Indiana Code. The commission executed the Series A lease and Series B lease on May 31st, 2022, agreeing to pay the lease rentals due under the lease as stated above. And those were also had a pledge of tax increment revenues generated and collected in the Field House allocation area. Those are defined as the TIF resolutions. Over the term of the Series A lease and the Series B lease, the developer will make certain payments to the commission, including a minimum taxpayer payment, the developer payments, and those payments are reasonably expected to be used by the commission to pay a portion of the lease rental payments due under each of the Series A and Series B lease. The commission has been advised by its municipal advisor that a debt service reserve for the Series B bonds funded from proceeds of the Series B bonds or by the purchase of a surety reserve enhances the city's ability to market the Series B bonds. In connection with establishing the Series B reserve for the Series B bonds, the commission has been advised by its municipal advisor that certain provisions need to be made to replenish the Series B reserve on the earliest possible date following a draw. To the extent that tax increment revenues generated in the field house allocation area or any other revenues of the commission are unavailable. So the commission will need to covenant to levy a special benefits tax and maintain such levy until at such times the Series B reserve has been replenished. Now therefore, the lease rental payments due under the Series B lease shall be paid from the special benefits tax. The commission hereby finds and determines it reasonably expects to pay the lease rentals due under the Series B lease from any other legally available revenues of the commission, and to the extent such revenues are insufficient or will not be available on the date the lease rentals are due under the Series B lease, the special benefit tax will be levied to pay such lease rentals due. Secondly, the commission hereby covenants to replenish the Series B reserve on the earliest possible date following a draw on the Series B reserve. And these are all defined, again, as available revenues. To the extent that the estimated available revenues, together with funds on deposit, in the commission's allocation accounts created under Indiana Code and the funds held under the trust indenture for the Series B bonds are not available or not expected to be available on certain dates which the lease rentals are due, then the commission shall annually levy the special benefits tax in an amount sufficient when combined with other available revenues and funds on deposit to pay the lease rentals due. Any officer of the commission is authorized and directed to enter into one or more agreements with the developer obligating the developer to make the developer payments in the form and substance acceptable to such offers. The president, vice president, and secretary of this commission, each of them are authorized and directed to take all such further action and execute any such agreements, to approve any and all matters, do any and all other things that they deem necessary and desirable to carry out the transactions contemplated in this resolution. This resolution repeals and replaces Resolution 2022-06 in its entirety, and it will be in full force and effect from and after its adoption.
Thank you, Mr. Shen. That is a mouthful. So essentially, it's repealing an originally passed resolution, some new advisement from our financial advisors on the funding mechanism here. And I'd ask the commission if they have any other questions after rereading this resolution. Seeing none, I would, we don't need a public hearing on this one, do we? So I would entertain a motion to accept or approve Resolution 2022-08.
I'll make a motion and we approve resolution number 2022-08.
I'll second that.
We have a motion second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you, Commission. I believe that is all of our agenda items for this evening. Is there any other items or discussion from the Commission this evening?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
Got a motion second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you very much. The meeting is
I thought maybe we
adjourned.
were going to have it stick around. I thought maybe